My husband and I got a legal separation and I moved in with my mum. We couldn't live on a social security for too long and I didn't have a job as I moved to a different city. So we decided to start a TikTok for her facial cleansing devices that she runs from her house. People on TikTok loved her videos, and she had a decent following within 2 months just by sending it to friends and family. She changed her TikTok name to Mama Papa and started doing deep pore cleansing as well as just the usual. Her clients loved being on TikTok, and we protected the identity of anyone she served. Her business started flourishing after 3 months on TikTok, and she got some wealthy contributors on Patreon. One sent us enough money for some better equipment, and we posted some videos of us buying what he suggested. A nice sturdy chair that was meant for her line of work, and several tools he suggested for stubborn acne. When we got back to our house, however, we couldn't get the chair out of her little Ford. It was pretty heavy, but we did kind of cram it in there. A literal, tall, dark and handsome man was walking by as we struggled and asked if we needed help. We said we did, and he helped us get it out. As he was about to leave, my mum's neighbour, Jeff, came out of his house in a bathrobe that barely covered his sweat-stained tank top and boxers. He was drinking a beer and stammering something under his breath. The kind passerby asked him, "Can I help you, sir?" "We don't like your kind in this neighbourhood." The kind passerby looked at my mum. The look on my mum's face told him it's never been a problem before. So the kind passerby asked, "Black?" "No, helpful," Jeff belched. "I'll help whoever I please," the kind passerby said. Jeff stumbled down his steps over to the kind passerby and shoved him. Then they started a shoving match. My mum just calmly walked over and said, "How about instead of fighting over nothing, I give you two a free facial cleansing?" She gave them a look, like you better not say no. Jeff begrudgingly said okay, and we could all see that the deciding feature was cost. But we all knew due to his attire, he wasn't doing anything that day either. The kind passerby, whose name I learned is Darian, said he would take a rain check, and I handed him a coupon from the book I always have on me, just in case. Mum and I went inside to set up the new client chair and tools. We sanitized everything. By the time I had plastic and towels put over the chair, Jeff had arrived with pants and a shirt on. I wish he would have brushed his teeth. "How long's this gonna take?" he chided. "As long as it takes, or until you want to leave," my mum said. "I won't keep you if you have somewhere you need to be." He sat in the chair, and I had him sign release forms and disclaimers that he would be on TikTok, but without his identity being released. My mum explained the process, and he waved like, "Get on with it," so she began. Mum exfoliated his face, while I heated face towels to open pores. The machine we have to heat them actually can add scents. Mum told me to add lavender before he got there. By the time Mum had the exfoliation wiped off his face, the towels were ready. I put them on him and began recording as she picked up her tools. Jeff complained under the towel and cussed a few times as my mum worked on small blackheads. Then she explained to him she was moving on to his 3 large blackheads, starting with the smallest first. He grumbled, but complied. Shooting in short bursts to get the videos able to be on TikTok was easier than separating them later, so that's how I recorded. When I started the first video as she put the tool to his face, I couldn't have guessed what was going to happen. The seed came out right away and made a clink on her examining tray. It was the size of a watermelon seed and harder. It was the right color, but it was hard as stone. The next one was a little bigger, but was the same. Large and clanked on the tray, just like the last one. The third one was stubborn and wouldn't come out. It was almost like it moved away from the popping tools. Mum told me to get her soft-ended tweezers, and I jumped to task, ending the video for taking too long. When she got the tool tip in the rather large crevice in his face, she pulled out a 3-inch millipede. I gagged. Jeff went silent. He didn't see it, but I thought he had to have felt it. "Get a plastic container," my mum said, as coldly and calmly as possible. I looked at her like, "What?" And she motioned to the cupboard with her eyebrows. "Everything okay?" Jeff asked, surprisingly peacefully. "Just getting a container to comply with regulations. You know how it goes," I replied. Shockingly, he said, "Yeah, I guess I do." No cusses or complaints. I went through the cupboard as quickly and quietly as possible. I found one large enough to contain it, but small enough to not let it out. I opened the lid a small bit so my mum could get it in, but I wouldn't be letting it out. I hid the container while she took off the towel and showed him the 2 seed heads. He actually smiled. "I feel better than I ever have before. I'm coming back." Then, as he left the door, "I'm going to quit drinking and get a job." When Jeff was gone, we just looked at each other like, what the hell was that? Before either of us could speak, we heard tink, tink, tink. We slowly walked towards the sound, shooting each other worried looks along the way. When we got to her home office, we saw what was making the sound. On the tray, it was the seeds. They were moving.